first question is how to decide what the headings or H2s should be on a service page and how many they should be. Is it okay to use on-page tools for creating thoroughly optimized service page? Yeah, you can. Look, I don't use on-page optimization tools for tuning content for local SEO. I just don't do it anymore. Not for my own projects because I understand the industry well. And I already know what works and what doesn't work. And I found that for local SEO, you can convey to Google exactly what the page is about through the main optimization elements of the page, which is titles, headings, and subheadings. That's it. You don't need content. You don't need much content. If you want filler content to make it, make sense to a visitor, a human visitor, by all means, put that content there. But doing those types of on-page optimization tools where you go try to get your score to 100% because the tool tells you that that's what you need and all that kind of stuff, I found in local SEO it's absolutely unnecessary because those are like negative feedback loops that end up causing you to over optimize the pages and put way more content and filler and fluff and keyword density and all this other stuff that I found isn't really necessary because you can convey to Google through the main optimization elements, titles, headings, and subheadings. What are the titles? SEO title and page or post title. There's two titles, right? The SEO title or meta title, and the page or post title, that's the H1. Then you have headings, which are H2s, and then subheadings, H3s, 4s, 5s, etc. And through those elements alone, you can convey to Google exactly what the page is about. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have content on the pages other than titles, headings, and subheadings. I'm just stating that you can convey to Google what the page is about through that. And so I don't use on-page optimization tools for content tuning and development for the industry that I work in because I already have figured out the proper page structure, and that's all that is needed, if that's clear. But if you're in an industry that you're not unsure about or whatever, then those tools can be helpful, right? They can help you to develop an outline. I prefer basically developing pages like to be basically an outline now because now let me clarify things. On the service pages, I like to thoroughly optimize those with thorough descriptions of the services and the sub-services that are associated with that service. Okay, I think the service pages should be very well, provide a thorough description of that service, right? But the location pages, which is typically what we're trying to rank, those don't need to have a lot of content, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't put content on them. I'm just saying they don't need a lot. And so I don't use the SEO content tuning tools and things like that for those types of pages because I don't think it's necessary. I found in my own testing we don't need that. We don't need to do that. We end up wasting a ton of time on that and trying to get that score to something that makes us feel good. When in all reality, that's, like I said, it's kind of a negative feedback loop in that it basically forces you to over optimize the pages based upon the top ranked competitors, etc. And so I found it's not really necessary to do it. But if you have a tool that you use that you like to use that will help you to develop outlines and things like that, by all means use it. How do I determine the H2s, the proper headings and all that? Again, I've talked about this many, many times on Hump Day Hangouts, guys. I go study Wikipedia, the entities or topics related to the industry that I'm working in. And then I start looking at the page structure of those entities. Look at the headings and subheadings on those Wikipedia pages that are of the entities that are relevant to your industry. And you start to get and look at the see also, right? So when looking at see also shows you tangential topics or entities, right? Things that are closely related to that particular entity. I showed this before, one of our mastermind members showed this to me, which I thought was phenomenal. His name is Nolan. He's in the UK. He showed how you can go to Wikipedia and click on there's a in the kind of menu area, I guess, above right where the entity term is, the title is. If you look over to the far right, there will be a thing that says what links here, a drop down. Let me just demonstrate real quick. I'll show you what I mean. So if I look at like, I don't know, tree care as an example. Right here. Right here, this tools drop down. If you click on that and click on what links here, and then you click on hide transclusions and hide links and click go, it gives you the entities that are related or synonymous or variants of the term, the actual entity term. So tree care is the entity term, and you can see tree service, tree removal, tree care industry. All three of those are kind of terms that are related or variants of the entity term. And so again, I look at these different things like tree care, like the entity itself. I look at the headings and subheadings, the bolded terms, things like that, so that I can try to identify. And like I said, the see also, you see these down here, these are similar or related type of entities. And then from that, I just start trying to plan out what is logical based upon how these topics are covered within Wikipedia. How can I structure my pages to be similar to that? So that's where I start. And then sometimes it's going to take some trial and error. Guys, that's why I keep preaching to you guys to do this with one industry, not 10, because it's very difficult to do this type of analysis and research and et cetera, testing across multiple industries. It's time consuming. There's no question. But I've been doing this for about 3 years now in the tree service industry. I've been working with tree service contractors for over 10. But for the last 3 years, I've been really testing and playing around with what I call topic and category optimization. And this is how I do it. Exactly what I'm describing to you guys right now, which is just studying Wikipedia, the entities related to the industry, looking at the headings and subheadings of those pages, and then start trying to figure out, based upon what your research reveals to you, which you can glean from that, is what seems logical, what seems most appropriate, the way that, according to Wikipedia, we assume that Google understands these topics, right? And then just start playing with it. Start putting out test sites, as we talked about before, find low competition areas, put up some test sites, test different configurations, right? Try to change single variables on each subsequent test project, test site, test domain, whatever you want to call it, and see if you can figure out what is the best performing configurations. I'm still testing in the tree service industry. Right now, I've found a control that has not been beat now for several months. I've made some slight changes, but I'm still finding that the current control that I have it remains the best performer. And so, like I said, eventually when I find something that will improve performance consistently, then I will change my control to include that. But it's a bit of a trial and error, guys. That's what SEO is, right? You can follow best practices, et cetera, but you can always find ways to improve things if you do enough testing. And so that's what like I said, guys, there are plenty of tools out there that can help you develop that are very advanced tools now with AI and everything that can help you to develop that outline very, very quickly for proper page structure. What I don't recommend, though, again, is, and it's up to you, play with it if you don't believe me, but if you go spend a bunch of time tuning content and fleshing out a page, especially a location page, not necessarily a service page, but a location page, if you try fleshing it out the way that the on-page optimization tools are going to tell you to optimize, and go test that against then another page that is really just basically the outline, titles, headings, and subheadings, and see. And similarly, and by the way, you could do this in the same area, the same locations, or so with a test site. In other words, pick up a domain, build it one way where you've got the outline. You're going to use the same page structure for both test sites. Do two test sites. One that you've got, they're both using the same page structure, the outline of the page. But one you have tuned and optimized with all the content that the on-page optimization tools are going to tell you that you should have. And then the other one, keep it bare minimum, titles, headings, and subheadings. Maybe a couple of sentences in between headings or something, and that's it. And put them both into an indexer and Search Console and a rank tracker and see what happens. And you'll see that, according to my testing in the tree service industry, the content on the location pages doesn't matter much. It's the headings, titles, headings, and subheadings that does. And so you'll find it, I'm hoping, I could be wrong. Maybe it varies by industry. I don't know. I do most of this testing in the tree service industry. And in the tree service industry, it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is you might find that you'll be able to save yourself a lot of time from spending, wasting time on content tuning and all that stuff when it's unnecessary. Again, I don't know. For each industry, it may be different, guys. There's no way for me to know that because I do all of my testing in the SEO, or excuse me, the tree service industry. But it's logical. It seems pretty seems logical to me that if it works in local SEO for the tree service industry, it should work for other industries as well. So hopefully that's clear.